In this video, we're taking a look at the Hyperbase C1 emulation device. This is Android-based, comes with a 256 gigabyte SD card, included 90,000 games. Is this the emulation device that you've been looking for? Let's find out. First, let's talk about everything that's included. It comes in this convenient carrying case. All the parts are included, packaged inside it, and when you're all done playing from a gaming session, you could package it all up and make your family happy that you're not just drawing your living room trying to play emulation devices. Pretty convenient. When I first saw this unit, I was like, wow, this is like a Legends Ultimate Core. It's like a puck, but I took a look at it, and comparing the two, this is pretty nice. It actually has two USB ports, which is really convenient because it comes with two USB controllers, which you can plug right into this unit. It also has Bluetooth, so if you wanted to pair it to another controller, you could totally do that. Speaking of controllers, let's talk about the details of the controllers. Now, the buttons and the analog sticks, I have not really much to complain about on that. They seem fine, but the D-pad is not very good. I'll give you a very specific situation. I played these games for several hours to try to get, a real feel for the system. Try a whole bunch of games, not just a couple of highlights, but games that I really know really well. And I have to say, like I was playing Super Mario World, and it has this thing on the left side D-pad where the bottom three buttons, like the left, the bottom, and the right, if you accidentally press them at the same time, it triggers an up. And so that's not going to work. So I was climbing the fence on Super Mario World. I made it all the way to the castle level, and all of a sudden Mario just starts moving up. And I'm like, what is going on? But once I figured that out, I purposely started pressing those three buttons at the same time, and sure enough, it goes up. So there is a very objective reason why these controllers are not great. So I found myself, as I was playing certain games, I would end up switching to the analog stick, which was actually pretty nice. Most of the games, like I think almost every game that I played, it had the alternative to play it with the analog stick, so I started doing that. But games like, say, Pac-Man, you very specifically press left, then right, then down. So I was never in the situation where I was kind of mashing the buttons together. And so it wasn't really a situation. But if you're a big gamer and you play a lot, these are probably not the controllers you want. You'll probably want to use something more elite, something more professional. But hey, it's common USB. This is an Android-based system. I don't think you'll have any troubles trying to pair different controllers or mapping it. Just a little bit of setup. Take your favorite USB controller, plug it in. It's probably going to work. Now let's take a look at the emulation. So I played a ton of games that I'm familiar with, and the games that I love are mostly from Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, which is really convenient because these games play really well on this system. It was only until I got to Nintendo 64, the Saturn, PS1, where I had issues. It's just the specs of this unit cannot pull off the emulation on those units. Now, I was surprised when I played F-Zero. F-Zero played actually really well. And here's the thing. It says it comes with 90,000 games. The majority of the games that I was playing seemed to be in that 8-bit to 16-bit era. So, Sega 32X, all of those Neo Geo games, MAME games, I didn't have any issues with them. I played through a ton of games from that era, and they played really well. Every now and then, I would go find a game, and it just wouldn't start. And then I just tried a different variation of it. It's not a very clean set of ROMs. You'll go find a popular game like Street Fighter, and you'll find like a dozen versions of them. So I took a look at the SD card, and for example, you can see all of the duplication of games, but all of the ROMs seem to be different. But the problem is, in the UI, they all look the same. They have the same title, they have the same artwork, or very similar artwork. So it's not very customized, it's not curated, it's not cleaned up. But hey, I did find a trick. I was sitting here trying to figure out, is this worth it? Is there workarounds for it? And what I find myself doing is using the search. There are so many games in here that if you're just scrolling down, it's just not practical to find your game. If you want to scroll all the way down to S to get to Super Mario, you're going to be holding down for a really long time. I was able to play all my favorite games, no problem, able to find them. And it was interesting, there was a ton of games in here that I've never actually played. Again, I'm not really big into emulation. I did emulation a lot, 2015 to 2017, also a lot of Android-based. And so coming back to Android, I was able to see kind of all these newer emulation systems, and I'm really excited about trying out different units. This Hyperbase C1 is pretty cool. It has the Elec emulation, and it seems to be configured in such a way where, I don't know, maybe like 70% of the gameplay is not frustrating, right? Like if you're getting that 8-bit, 16-bit, you want to play those era of games, they're all here. Like all the games that I would want to play that I could find are there, and I played a ton of hours on this system, and I didn't have any emulation problems on those set of games. It didn't appear to have any major lag or anything like that. I didn't have to go through menus. The only thing I really had to do was remap my controls to be more favorable to what I usually like. Kind of more like a Super Nintendo controller setup, you know, where Mario's running when I press my run button and Mario's jumping when I press the, you know, I want A, B, and X and Y to kind of be more in that Super Nintendo configuration. Doing a minor configuration on the button mapping seems very small to me. I also did double check the SD card. It is fully writable. It's kind of cool how they have it set up. It's a 256 gigabyte SD card, at least this one is. There's other variations if you want to get a smaller one, like 64 gig, you can do that. Or if you want to get bigger, like 512, they have all these different pricing options. It is writable, so they have it set up in 2 different partitions, so it'll actually show up as 2 different drives when you plug it into your Windows computer. There's another drive that is just ROMs, and basically there's a folder for every single system, and you go into the folder, you find a whole bunch of zip files or a whole bunch of ROMs, and then you'll find some pictures as well. It's all pretty laid out pretty simply, and what I find convenient that you could do is really learning how to use this search feature. You go in there, the idea of jumping to a letter is something I was playing with for a while, but if you jump down to S, you have to scroll all the way through a whole bunch to get to like Street Fighter, right? So if you're in the MAME or you're in the Nintendo, you're in the Sega, Super Nintendo, they have so many games in there, it would take forever to scroll. But if you do a filter, if you filter by a keyword, because you're like, hey, I want to play Street Fighter, then type in Street Fighter, and then boom, it'll only show you the Street Fighters. You click on the game. If it doesn't work, because it might not, back out and then pick another game. So I ran through a lot of the systems, but I wasn't able to do a full, complete, every single system. I think I invested at least 8 hours on this unit. I recorded it all my gameplay, and I was not able to even scratch the surface, unable to verify if every single game works. But hey, the big popular games, I was able to get working and actually had a fun time doing it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. And hit that subscribe if you want to see more videos just like this one covering other emulation devices. I would love to do that more. Comment down below if you like this format or if you want to make suggestions on how I can make videos better for you. I will try. And we'll see you guys in the next video.